going to change my story at the last minute. Because we have a little girl here called Happy. And I thought I would tell a story to make her happy. And plus, I begin to get a reputation for being a very serious storyteller. So I think I'm going to break that mold. This is, well, it started out as a Native American story, but it has been around the world through the email, through the net. And my version is probably not a very true version, but it's a fun version. And even in the fun, there is a message there. Long ago, in a deep green forest, a little bird was flying, flying, flying through the air. Now, what that bird was thinking about, I don't know. But I will tell you something. That bird was not paying attention. She was daydreaming. Because, you know what she did? She flew smack into a tree. Whee! Pop! She landed on a little white rock at the bottom of the tree. And she landed very hard on her wing. And it hurt. And so she started to cry. She went, at the other side of that same forest, Coyote was out walking. And he stopped when he heard the little birds cry, and he said to himself, "Why, that sounds like a good song. I'd like to learn that song." And so he followed the sound till he came to the little white rock where the little bird was sitting. And he said, little bird, teach me your song." And the little bird looked up at him and said, "I'm not singing, I'm crying." "Teach me your song, or I'll eat you up." So, of course, she had to teach him. She went, "Can you cry like the little bird?" Well, off goes Coyote, very happy, singing his new song. Let me hear. Well, Coyote was so busy singing his new song that he wasn't paying attention to. He didn't notice. He didn't see that great big hole. That great big hole up ahead until he tumbled down into it and knocked his head. And you know, he knocked his head so hard that he knocked that song right out of it. And when he climbed back out of the hole again, he had to go back to the little bird on the little white rock and say, little bird, teach me your song." "I already told you I'm not singing, I'm crying." "Teach me your song, or I'll eat you up." So, of course, she had to teach him. Well, off goes Coyote again, happy as ever. But just then, a herd of buffalo passed by. And they passed by, and they passed by. And when the last buffalo was gone, guess what? So was the song out of Coyote's head. And he had to turn around to go back to the little bird on the little white rock and say, little bird, teach me your song." "How many times do I have to tell you I'm not singing, I'm crying?" "Teach me your song, or I'll eat you up." choice. She had to teach him. Well, off goes Coyote again, very happy, singing his song. He was so busy singing that song that he didn't see the great big anthill. He didn't see that great big anthill full of ants until he stuck his nose right into it. Now, those ants, they didn't like their home being broken into. Oh no, they came swarming out of the anthill. They went up Coyote's nose, around Coyote's eyes, into Coyote's ears, and all the way down to the tip of his tail. And they bit, and they bit, and they bit Coyote. And Coyote had to scratch and shake, and scratch and shake. And he scratched and he scratched and he shook so much. Guess what? He shook that song right out of his head. And he had to turn around and go back to the little bird and the little white rock. But, in the meantime, the little bird's wing was feeling better. She thought she could fly again. But she was mad. She was really angry with Coyote. He was always causing trouble in the forest. And so she decided that she would teach him a lesson. She plucked out some of her feathers, pluck, 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 and she stuck them on to the little rock bird, to the little rock to make a little rock bird. And she smiled to herself as she flew off between the trees. Well, back comes Coyote, back to the little rock, back to the little rock bird. He still had some ants around his eyes, so he couldn't see too well. So he said, little bird, teach me your song. But the little rock bird didn't say anything. Couldn't say anything. Teach me your song or I'll eat you up. But the little rock bird didn't say anything. Couldn't say anything. And so, that big old mean old Coyote, he opened up his mouth very wide and he bit down on that little rock bird. Oh! He howled. And that, so they say, is how Coyote got his own special howl.
Lovely, lovely. Morning, I'm